You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres, with the pals, Nigel, Tom, and Jake. We got episode 71 coming at you. You know the drill, peeps. Quick reminder, follow the social medias. We're on all of them: Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok. On all those, you can find us with the handle at Let's Go Buff Pod. Tom, our wonderful producer, how many F's are there in the handle?
It's 5.
2.
2. Yes.
2 F's. I always forget. You like, yeah.
I'll change the language for you. I'll keep learning new ones for you.
That would be a fun little shtick. I like that, actually. Yes, Let's Go Buff Pod with 2 F's in there. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching at a later time on YouTube, please give us a like, drop a comment. You can make fun of my mustache. Helps us out with the algorithm. Please, please, please. Thank you so much. Let's say hello to the fellas. Tom, how we doing, pal?
What up? I'm good, dude. It's so good to see you guys. It's been a little bit of a week. I'm a middle school teacher between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so everybody send your condolences for my sanity. But I'm good, and I'm excited to hang out with you guys, even if we're talking about, the demise of Buffalo sports.
Yeah, which is a little bit kind of the vibes, a little like recently. Jake, my guy, what's going on?
Certainly for one team more than the other, but I'm good. I'm excited to fully dissect. I think we'll get into quite a bit of that tonight. So I'm good. Yes. Otherwise, man, just I'm sipping on my Tom drink this evening. A little eggnog.
Oh, well, that's a great segue there. Shall we, Tom? Are you nogging again, or do you have something to open?
Nope. Caught me down, buddy.
Nice. All right, buddy. I'm right there with you. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Cheers, pals.
Cheers.
I was a little delayed there. Sorry. Cheers, boys. Good to see you.
And anybody out there drinking with us, cheers.
Yes, cheers to all y'all as well.
We needed a voodoo reset up here in Buffalo, so I'm going with straight up Labatt Blue, bringing it back home.
All reliable, baby.
A little bit of a reset, and come back together, and then go back out and fight another day. So
hell yeah. Jake, talk to me, brother. Do you have do you have the Evan Williams that we talked about last pod, or did you go the Tom Smith route and DIY your eggnog?
I didn't make it at all, actually. So we had a soft launch party for our house over the weekend, and of our lovely friends, Julia, made up her own homemade batch of eggnog and brought it over. So it is spiked. Spiked. Let's go with spiked. Spiked with rum.
Oh, delicious!
I'm sure it's from Julia. It's freaking amazing. So, cheers! Yum.
She knows what she's doing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I also have this little hazy wonder from Lagunitas that was also left in my fridge from that evening, and it is exactly fine.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah. Big endorsement.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am sticking with the Bearded Iris brewery again, like I was talking about last week. I got that IPA pack. Getting into a double here, boys. This one is called the Attention Please. Yes, Tom?
No, Attention Please.
Yeah, that's a fun one there. So, nice little 8.2% Citra IPA here. So we'll see where I'm at in a good chunk of time here.
So this means you're going to have a little buzz when we eventually get to the Sabres, and you're tear into them.
We'll just I've never been one in the past, dude, but I might be an angry drunk, so we'll see.
The soapbox rant is loading, folks.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, it's coming.
But first, we're going to talk about the Bills. Still not awesome in Billsville here, but like Jake said a little bit ago, definitely better than it's going for the Sabres. We lost, and that happens even to the really good teams. It was a doozy of a game, but yeah, Bills lost to the Rams this past Sunday, 44-42 in LA. There was a lot of good, and there was a whole goddamn lot of bad. Tom, let's see. We'll go around the horn here, and I guess do you want let's each do 2 goods and 2 bads, maybe, or 1 good and 1 bad. What do you guys think?
Start with the goods, and we'll go back around. We'll come back to the bads. Let's start with the goods. Kind of organize ourselves here. So
I love it. Tom, let it rip.
It starts and ends with Josh Allen. I think I could start every Bills conversation this season with it starts and ends with Joshua Patrick Allen. Like the guy cemented his MVP case this week. Like there is no other answer other than Josh Allen for MVP. 22 of 37 passing, 342 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 10 rush attempts for 82 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, no turnovers. The first player in the Super Bowl era to score 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns. He's an absolute cheat code. The guy, you can't go wrong. He shows up every week this season and just puts the Superman cape on, and just it's unfreaking believable. It's so much fun, and we have Josh Allen, and you don't.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you said it all. We've been saying it every week. It's just a privilege. It's a privilege to watch. It's a privilege to be a fan of the Bills right now, because I mean, the outrageous shit that we're seeing Josh Allen do is, I mean, and even amidst a season where it's been the most efficient season of his career in terms of just, taking the checkdowns and stuff like that. But you add into the mix, like the way that he's scoring touchdowns right now. I mean, some of these rushes, dude, are just absolutely melting my brain, what he's doing when he's running with the ball. And I said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like when I'm watching Josh run the ball, he doesn't look insanely athletic. He looks a little bit giraffe-y, kind of.
A big old moose.
Yeah, like a little bit lumbering in a way. Yeah. But dude, then like I'm watching him throw these head fakes, and I'm watching these top tier athletes just absolutely get shook. So it's got to be deceptive looking. But yeah, bro. And then I mean, you throw in his ability to throw the ball. I mean, just off the top of my head, that throw to Amari Cooper that was right over the shoulder along the left sideline there, and then the touchdown pass to Mac Hollins, like just absolute seeds, dude. Cheat code throws, like you said.
Yeah, it's so cool. I just want to read a quick tweet here. It's not quick because it's long, and it's from at Uber Hansen. He's a great tweet person in the Bills space, so please go follow him on Twitter at Uber Hansen. He has a list of all of the records and milestones that Josh Allen either achieved on Sunday or improved on his already record. First in Super Bowl era with 3 passing and 3 rushing touchdowns. Most games with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown at 23. Most games with 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, 5. Tied for most games with 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, 9. Tied for most games with 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, 2. The list goes on. The list goes on. It's like it's every week. We've been saying it, and I think this is now the 3rd week in a row we've said the guy breaks records every week. He's rewriting the record books in front of our eyes, and it's unbelievable. He's now 51st in career touchdowns in the NFL history with 62 rushing touchdowns, passing O.J. Simpson, Bills player, from the 70s, Herschel Walker, Terrell Davis, and Alvin Kamara. Like, so cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
The guy, my biggest kind of con for this game coming out of it after I've calmed down is that, man, I wish Josh could have gotten a win just for him in this performance. I wish that Josh had a win with that stat line.
Yeah, he deserved it, and it's a bummer. We have a little bit of that going on with the Sabres right now, too, after that game last night. Should have been about one guy in particular and his unreal game that we'll talk about when we get there, but instead we're just kind of focusing and talking about the loss. But yeah, dude, it's a bummer that you can't assign all that positivity to the ultimate positive, which would be a win. But that's the way she goes, right?
Yep, that is. So it's ridiculous. Sorry, I'm getting text from my wife about how much I'm going off about Josh Allen here.
That's
sorry,
how you know
honey.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, honey.
Jake.
Just being my man crush. Jake, give me some good vibes, some positives from this game.
How about Mr. Shoeless, Mac Hollins, hauling in another great touchdown, right? I mean, he's continued to impress. He's a reliable little outlet for Josh in big moments.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good. And just the vibes. Have you seen him? Like, do you guys notice him on one of Josh's 3 rushing touchdowns? He's in the back before Josh is even like the touchdown has been called. He's in the back,
just fist pumping. Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This guy is just all energy, and it's awesome. If it came up to me, lifetime contract. As many years as he wants to come back and retire a Bill, sign him to 1-year deals, boom, 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 until he can walk off and barefoot off the stage and, have a great rest of his life. Like, I'm in.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Did you have any more thoughts on that, Jake? On Mac, or did you kind of say what you needed to say?
No, I said what I needed to. Just I love having him on the team. He's been awesome.
He really is, dude. Like that, he's an unreal utility player. Yeah. I mean, the way that he blocks is second to none, dude. His run blocking is outstanding. You're never going to get a lack of effort. Those routes, to use a term by our good buddy Joe Marino, the love of the game routes, dude. Like those routes that are just clear out routes to open up like underneath mesh concepts and stuff like that. He runs those routes like he is hell-bent on getting that fucking ball. And it's important to do, man. Like, and some guys, like the ego guys, you don't get that. Like, you don't run clear out routes with a Stephon Diggs because he's going to bitch about it. But Matt Collins recognizes the value there. I don't know, man. Yeah, an invaluable guy, great for the vibes, and not for nothing, pretty goddamn talented.
Yeah, he's probably the best downfield target for Josh right now. Like the most reliable downfield, like 20 plus. I think Shakir and Amari Cooper and there's a couple other players who are doing really well within the 10 and 20s, but between 10 and 20 yards, excuse me. But I think 20, 25 plus, I think Matt Collins is the most reliable down the field.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Go ahead, Jake.
Amari Cooper and Josh did connect on a couple of big plays. So starting to come alive. There was some miscommunication still, but there were flashes of it. You can see the impact that he has on the field.
The guy had like 12 targets, right? Like a lot. It was no longer, hey, we're going to mix Amari Cooper in a little bit. Josh was actively going after him. It was only about 6 receptions, so it was not, incredibly prolific, but it's there. And I think that's going to continue to blossom through the end of the season and into the postseason.
Yeah. Amongst some other things that, we can talk about, probably not today, but at a different point, that connection is one of my Nigel keys to the Bills' playoff success. Is that connection between Josh Allen and Amari Cooper solidifying and becoming just a little bit stronger. I think that could be a big deal. I mean, probably not as big as like a Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid returning, but I just think that a really established connection between Coop and 17 could be massive.
Yeah, no, totally. I think we got to talk about Khalil Shakir, guys. Right, 5 for 106 yards and a tutty. The guys, it's unbelievable watching him play. He's every week he's putting on these highlight reel plays where his acceleration in short space is awesome. Players are just peeling off the guy. It's incredible of how reliable his hands are and how tough he fights after the catch. It's invaluable to the team.
Yeah, Shakir is, I mean, dude, I'm telling you, man, like, I don't know that he's ever going to have the elite strength that St. Brown has, dude, but like, I mean, I think he could be every bit as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown. He really, really, really is built very similarly, a little bit smaller, but he's so thick. He's so strong. You see it, like you said, guys are bouncing off him. We got a bunch of people calling him Pinball Shakir, dude. Shout out. Bruce. Yeah. Yeah, dude, Pinball Shakir is, and it's the truth, man. Like his yards after the catch is crazy. His effort, just, in terms of taking on contact, he's never going down without a fight. And yeah, he showed yesterday or Sunday, excuse me, an elite ability to be able to pull away from athletes, dude. I mean, he split the safeties and they could not catch him, dude. He was absolutely gone. So yeah, Khalil Shakir just, man, I know I'm probably going to sound like a broken record at this point, man, but I just having Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid back with the way the offense has looked in these last couple of games, dude, like I just think I want to see what it looks like, dude.
I know it's coming. It's coming. Stop what you want. That's okay. We have 3 other answers for you. I saw a stat go by. Josh Allen has 10 players with 150 or more yards on this team. 10 receivers for the 150 more yards. Like, he's found answers. He has the command of this offense, and he's the general out there, and he's making it happen with whoever's out there and ready for him. But I'm super excited to see Keon and Dalton come back and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, absolutely agree.
This is best case scenario, what we talked about in the preseason. No set amount of targets to anybody. Just let him fire the ball to who he sees, and that's what's materializing. And look at how fucking well it's working.
Yeah,
it's coming to life right here, and it's paying off. Right, this is what we've seen Josh do and be as efficient as he can be. Really cool. I have a segue to our next section, unless you guys have more good that you want to focus on here.
Yeah, are you heading into some negatives?
I'm getting there. Yep.
Okay. All right. What do you got?
So I want to, as a segue here, I have one last good, and it's going to help us talk about the bad and the ugly. The Buffalo Bills lost a game 44-42. And the only way it happened was for the Los Angeles Rams to play the game of their lives. Matt Stafford put up 44 points, he had the 7th best quarterback performance based on EPA per play since 2000. In 24 years, the 7th best performance. He had Puka Nacua making plays left and right, Cooper Kupp making plays left and right, Kyren Williams just kind of gashing us by volume on the in the run game, and we needed a blocked punt to go for a touchdown in order to lose by 2 points. I think I'm okay with this loss. I'm kind of starting to digest it. I'm coming back down. Man, it was a fluke performance. Hats off to the Rams. Like, they played their butts off. McVay schemed and planned and prepped his butt off. But that's what was required to beat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So as we get into the bad and the ugly, that's my perspective. Jake and Nigel might have some different thoughts here, but that's my perspective. So let's get into the bad and the ugly, because this is the important part. This is the stuff. This is eating your vegetables, right? This is getting ready for the playoffs. This is how the Bills can be had in the future. So this is what we are hoping and praying, that McDermott and Babich and Joe Brady are getting the team ready to deal with going in the future, because now a little bit of the book is out on how you play the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, should I jump right into it? Like,
yeah.
Go
where you want.
Dude. Okay. Tom, I agree with everything that you just said, and you are objectively 110% correct. It took a near perfect game for the Rams offensively to beat the Bills by 2 points. And it wasn't, even if the Rams offense, burp from the double IPA, did everything that they did, and that punt block for a TD didn't happen, it's a different conversation, right? And everyone's exclusively talking about 6 touchdowns and yada yada yada. Here's where I get concerned. Okay, and I was hoping, I know I'm stuttering because I'm like upset that I feel this way, but it's the truth. I was hoping that with an extra day going by, because we were talking about podcasting last night, Monday night, that I would change my tune on this, but I just haven't. And I'm just going to say it. I am astonishingly concerned about the defensive line. And I know that so far this season, it really hasn't been that big of an issue, but I think the reason it hasn't been that big of an issue, and when I talk about it, I specifically mean run defense, but I'm also kind of getting to just pressuring the quarterback too. Hasn't been too much of an issue because like half our games this season, we're winning by double digits, right? We're putting teams in situations where they have to throw the ball. And so the running game very quickly in these games against the Bills is becoming not something that opposing teams have to do. And therefore, the games where we've been exposed, it's because it's been early in games or games where we've been losing, but it hasn't been exposed as consistently as maybe it deserves to, because we're always crushing everybody, which is great. But man, after watching that yesterday or on Sunday and seeing no pressure, no sacks, factually no sacks, and very, 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 very little pressure, I already feel like I just have to mentally gear up for a repeat divisional loss in the second round pick Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Maybe the Bengals pull off a miracle and it's Joe Burrow. I'm just preparing for a divisional round exit because the opposing quarterback was able to run wild. And I can't get myself away from that because we gave Ed Oliver a significant contract, and we saw Daquan Jones play really well. And where the fuck are those guys? And Greg Rousseau wants this big contract, but where the hell was he? Sunday afternoon. And Von Miller, dude, was objectively, I think, the best defensive lineman in that game.
Yes.
But even this 1,000-year veteran is still fucking cutting on the inside and allowing an elite passing quarterback like Matt Stafford to be able to bounce out to the right and have free reign. And I'm just fucking nervous. There's no two ways about it, dude. And I don't know what I can see from Josh Allen that's going to alleviate that concern for me, because it's never going to be on Josh Allen. I'm mentally preparing for another elite Josh Allen playoff performance that correlates to a Bills loss because the opposing quarterback was also able to run wild.
Man, I think everything you said is true. I think that's absolutely a concern, absolutely a picture that can be painted, because we've seen it, right? We've seen it, just like you just said. I want to kind of piggyback. I think it's a matter of we were playing from behind, and we didn't get any splash plays on defense. There was no takeaways. There was no we did not stop them multiple times. There was, right? That's really what this defense is predicated on, which is honestly a fine design, especially when you have Josh Allen on the offense of, hey, we're going to get a lead on offense. We're going to be able to pin our ears back, play our way, and force the game into our game script. And 8 times out of 10, you could do that. But the times when it's not, we've seen this team crumble against the Ravens. We've seen this team really struggle playing from behind against the Rams this weekend. That's the issue for me. It's playing from behind and not getting the kind of big marquee splash plays on defense that sets us up to all of a sudden help us win this game. And without that, this defense really struggled. Absolutely struggled.
Yeah, felt automatic at times. They let the Rams go 11 for 15 on third downs and just couldn't get a stop when it mattered. Even on some long ones too. We're not talking 3rd and 1 for 15 times. There was some 3rd and 9s, 3rd and 10s that would leak away.
You know who I hated seeing on the other team? I'm sorry, Nigel. I got to take this just to kind of go off of Jake's thought here on third downs. You know who was freaking annoying on third down? Puka stinking Nacua. Oh my Lord, that guy is so good.
Yeah,
he's in the top 5 wide receivers for me. After watching him completely dissect and make plays, he could personally of those, what do you say, Jake? 11 of 15 third downs.
73%, yes, sir.
Personally, he converted a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 1, a 3rd and 10, a 3rd and 6, and a 3rd and 5. You wonder why this team couldn't get off the field? It's because the Rams offense was executing. Matt Stafford was in his bag, Sean McVay was in his bag, and Puka Nacua was in his bag. And at some point, the other team, they get paid to play this game too. And wowzers did they, because they just played so well.
And that was something I did want to mention. Some of those plays from Puka, dude, I mean, you can't even get mad at the Bills for it. Now, that being said, I was absolutely blown away by the lack of attention to Puka Nacua, particularly in the second half, because I mean, it felt like this dude was single-handedly beating the Bills, Puka Nacua and Matt Stafford. You could have a Cooper Kupp was still great, but it was about Puka and Matt Stafford. And I was blown away by the lack of attention paid to Puka Nacua. It was super frustrating. But on the other side of that, dude, there were just plays that nobody's stopping. Yeah. That one 3rd down completion, I believe it was a 3rd down completion where he toe tapped like I've never seen anybody toe tap in my life, dude. I mean, there's no way you're stopping that. Like it's just 2 great athletes being great at the exact same time, and there's just nothing you can do, and you live with those, right? But it was the consistency in which Matt Stafford was able to find Puka in huge moments. It was the absolute inability of the Bills front 7 to do anything about the Puka Nacua jet sweeps, save for 1, maybe 2. There's one definitely in my head where somebody made a killer tackle.
Somebody sniffed it out.
Yep. I think it was Epinesa, but dude, it was just, I mean, Puka Nacua was just bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody that came in contact with him yesterday.
It was unfair. Yeah, it
felt unfair.
It was unreal.
It felt like they were cheating using Puka Nacua.
Yeah, they had the perfect scheme. They knew how the Bills were going to attack them, and they had the counter attack, right? They knew what to do to bait the Bills into how they think they can stop us, and we just couldn't. We couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Nigel, you and I had a little bit of a text conversation about the run game, and I kind of came at saying, hey, well, it wasn't super efficient. It's really, and I kind of, and you kind of pushed back and said, hey, but it was when and how and why they were able to get some rushing production. And I kind of, after rewatching and going back to the tape and checking some things out, I agree with you. I think it was more about the Rams rushing attack killed us with volume as opposed to huge gashing runs. But they could get consistent profits, stay on the field, and it helped them to maintain that time of possession where our defense just got wiped. That was, I think it was like 30. How many minutes? 38 minutes of time of possession for the Rams.
Oh, it was obscene.
It was like at some point, our defense also probably just got tired. This is exactly what the Bills has done to so many teams all year, right? We keep them on the field and they continue to try and stop us. But guess what? They continue to get more and more tired, and we continue to get a bigger and bigger advantage. The Rams had that in their in their advantage for this game.
Yeah. And you're gonna kind of lead me to another thing that's a little bit concerning for me as well. Well, it's a lot of bit concerning, but it kind of ties directly into what I already said about the defensive line. But the Rams were able to exploit the Bills with the run game with a very, very, very simple recipe. And they did it pretty much all game. And I'm going to kind of go through it a little bit with y'all with what the Rams did. So their formula for their rushing success was very simple. They did a lot with motion, right? Which the Bills also do, but they did a lot with their motion in order to pull the second level, right? So the second level being the linebackers particularly, and then either Taron Johnson or Damar Hamlin with whichever safety was playing down. But they motioned at the snap to pull that second level of defense out of where the play side was going to go, right? So they're motioning somebody to bring, and when that motion happens, that's typically a key for your secondary defenseman. And when I say key, I mean somebody that indicates what the play is supposed to do. Right. So they're keying on that guy that is being deceptive there. It's getting them out of the play side fit. Okay. And then as far as the defensive linemen, they were able to, the 3 techs yesterday were terrible, outright awful. Ed Oliver, Dwayne Carter were simply dreadful yesterday. The only thing they did was they consistently, and they have big guards in LA, but they consistently were able to just turn out those defensive tackles. They were able to double team the one technique, right, which was usually Daquan Jones. And then from that recipe there, with the secondary defense being pulled out of position and our D tackles being absolutely manhandled, the running alleys were big enough to drive an SUV through. And it was just, I mean, like you're right, Tom, it wasn't always giant gashing runs, but there was just enough where, like, I don't know, dude, like you said it earlier, Tom, the book is out. And like, dude, Matt Milano was rough yesterday. And I don't know, man, like it was way too simple of a scheme for it to look that bad for me to be like, oh my God, dude, like what the hell are we going to do? And yeah, so like it was a very simple scheme that made us look very silly. I
agree. And I think the issue is that these D tackles got just bullied, right? Dwayne Carter, Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver just got bullied. And I think, and then that puts more and more stress on the edge defenders. So Greg Rousseau can't play the way that he needs to. Von Miller can't play the way he needs to. For me, it's coming down to that D tackle room. It starts and ends with them, right? We always talk so much about on this podcast about how the D tackles, if they can absorb and just all the what's happening at the line of scrimmage, it frees up the linebackers, it frees up the edge defenders. It's just so pivotal. It's such a keystone to this defense of how they want to play. It allows the Bills to play with a smaller personnel because these smaller personnel linebackers or Taron Johnson don't get absorbed. Like, all of a sudden they're not trying to play against a
360 pound,
yeah, right. They're not a bigger player who's just going to outbody you. If somebody has 80 pounds on you, there's nothing you can do against it, right? Like it doesn't matter how strong you are. If they're just bigger than you can't do it. You're gonna get bullied. So yes, I completely agree. I'm ready to see Eli Ankou get called up for the practice squad.
I was just gonna say it, Tom. I was just gonna say it. Yeah, dude.
Cheers, buddy. Good minds. So like,
I'm ready for it.
Especially because the solutions aren't here, right? It's not working. So go find out. Go find out if Eli Ankou can bring some spark to this room. He's great at run defense, right?
Couldn't agree with you more.
He's a big-bodied guy. Hey, pal, I like it. Hey, look at us. It's a big-bodied guy who's good against the run defense. Good against the run, excuse me. Like, I think it's worth doing. Let's see what happens.
I agree completely. Right? There's one guy who I'm always noticing when he plays, and it's Ilianku. Every game he plays, I see him make an impact.
Maybe let Dwayne Carter have another week of, okay, buddy, I think you need to, let's get you a little bit more recovered and see what Ilianku does against their Lions. And then who's a fantastic run game, probably the best in the league, right? Best in the league. So we need something different. If we're gonna go in and roll out the same thing we did last week, oh boy, it's gonna be a long day, Bills Mafia.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So I think we can't get out of here without talking about the coaching decisions. Good, bad, ugly, wherever we're at. I don't think we can. We think we have to do justice in here. I know we have lots to talk about in Sabres land too, so we're not going to carry on too much. And we still have to even get to the Detroit game. So holy cow. We have two big ones that I want to talk about. The first is on that drive when we finally got a stop and there was a holding call. We could have held, if Sean McDermott declined the call, it would have put the Rams at 4th and 7. Instead, he accepted the call and he gave them 3rd and 17. What are your thoughts? Was that the correct decision or was that the incorrect decision?
So I full disclosure, at the time, I was very confident that it was the incorrect decision. Now, a couple of plays later, the Rams showed you that they were ready and willing to go for it on a 4th and intermediate. So after I saw that, it kind of made me think that, okay, maybe Sean was right because they probably would have gone for it on that 4th down anyway. My thought was, at the time, accept or decline the penalty, make it 4th down, and make them kick the field goal because one of two things happens. Either they make the field goal and they're only winning by 6, or they miss it and we have unreal field position. And it was not a gimme field goal. It was 55 yards, if memory serves. So
it was long.
Yeah. So that was my thought process at the time. So I was like, you have to decline this. Now, I don't think that if we had declined it, I don't think they were kicking the field goal. I think they were going for it. So with knowing that, it was the correct call to make the distance way longer, and you have to fucking find a way to keep them from completing 11 yards 2 plays in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost wonder if that's like a miscommunication between Babich and McDermott of, hey, McDermott's like, I'm accepting this, and I need you to not do prevent defense, and I need you to go get a play. Go get a stop, right? That's what we needed to get a blitz cover. You needed a blitz call to get into Stafford's face, get him sacked, back him up even more. Something needed to happen there. But I agree with you, and I think we have to say that hindsight is undefeated, right? We're now playing, Tuesday night quarterback here, where we now know the results, and I agree that I think they would have gone for it. So you have more thoughts, bud. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. I need to come to Sean McDermott's aid here for a moment because he's getting absolutely crucified. Everywhere I look, he's getting blown up. And I am not going to sit here and allow that or at least not on this podcast, because 2 weeks ago, Tom and I, we were absolutely slinging the Sean McDermott praises everywhere. And he's done enough good and shown enough growth in areas of concern this year where I am not going to sit here and dog him on a play that I really do feel like a couple plays later by the Rams going for it on, I think it was 4th and 4 or 4th and 5.
It was long. It was not short.
It wasn't short. I think in that moment he should have been vindicated. And I just absolutely don't accept the folks that are looking to crush McDermott on that play. Again, at the moment, I was begging us to decline the penalty because I wanted to put us in a situation where a touchdown wins us the game.
Yeah. I think, there's too much of Bills Mafia is too much of fair weather McDermott fans of, hey, he's awesome when things are going great, and then all of a sudden you have to start to put somebody up on the cross to crucify. He doesn't deserve it. I completely agree with you. I feel the same way. 2 weeks ago, I will say the same exact things tonight as I said 2 weeks ago. There were 50-50 decisions. And unfortunately, it feels like a lot of the 50-50 decisions did not go our way last night or Sunday night. And they also sometimes don't go our way in those big games. They're 50-50 decisions. They're going to come back around. There will be something else coming our way. I'm okay with that one. So, Jake, do you have any thoughts here, or do you want to hear about the next one?
No, I want to hear about the next one.
So the next controversial call is the Bills finally get it down where we have the couple finally get some flags in our favor. Don't get me started about the refs on Sunday night. It's not a time and place. We don't have the time for that. But holy cow, we finally had some calls our way. Gets us to the 1, and we do a quarterback sneak. Don't get it. Sean McDermott calls a timeout, or maybe Josh Allen calls a timeout. One of them calls a timeout. Burns one of our 3 timeouts, leaves us only with 2, which is not enough to then stop the clock later on in the game, and we get it on the second attempt. I'm going to kind of go first here, Nige. I think I'm okay with the play call. On 4th and 1, Josh Allen QB sneak is the absolute cheat code of a play. It's the best play that we have for that, because that's that spot in the field and that timing. I don't mind the play. I mind the burning of the timeouts. If you knew that that's what was going to happen, hey, we're going to go for a quarterback sneak, and if we don't get it, we have to call a timeout. Wait a second, just reset, run it again, right? Don't burn the timeout. Do something. So I don't think I don't mind the play.
I hate both of it. Both of them. I hate the play, and I hate the burning of the timeout. And my reasoning behind that, dude, you can't allow the clock to run in that situation, right? And you're absolutely right, Tom. If that is all they're going to call is that QB sneak, you just simply line up and you do it again immediately, and you don't burn the timeout. In my opinion, there, given the game situation, given what you need to go right, and given how much time is left, you have 3 passing plays called, ready to go, and you only throw the ball there. You find something that works, because you can't allow that running of the clock there. So even though Josh Allen is a cheat code, and here is honestly, dude, if you remember leading up to that initial QB sneak, I don't know what the fuck we were doing with all the cutesy shit. There was the motion. Normally we line up and it's the right guys right behind Josh, and we just hit it and go. And we're starting to set up in a formation where we might do something different, and then one guy motions and the second guy motions, and it's what the hell are we doing?
Josh audibled. He called it on the line.
Oh, did he change the play?
Yes, it was changed. He even talked about it in the press conference. Yeah, he changed the play.
I missed that.
Okay. The Rams gave him a look, which I'm pretty sure they were probably baiting him into that look, right? I don't know. Maybe that's too tinfoil hat of me. But yeah, he audibled into that play.
Yeah. We have to get to the Sabre stuff here. I hate both of them. I think in that situation, you have to have only passing plays called there. You can't miss the time.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, folks, holy cow, we could keep going. But I think the big kind of takeaway here, it needed an incredible superhuman performance from the Rams to beat the Bills. Everything is still in front of us. We are still number 1 seed in the division. First in the division, not number 1 seed. I'm so sorry, man. My Freudian slip. But there's still a lot that can happen. We're gonna be okay. Also, in the past few years, the Bills have had a pretty bad and tragic NFC loss, and then won out the rest of the year. So maybe that's gonna happen. I don't know. We'll find out. Where Bills get to go play the Lions. So this will be fun. The game of the year, probably, on Sunday, December 15th at 4:25 on a good old CBS. And it's going to be a big one. I don't think we're going to go into it too much detail here. We'll see you guys for the after the fact, but they are very much probably the best team in the league right now. They're executing on all cylinders. The defense is a little beat up, but that offense can do literally whatever they want. This is going to be a shootout. This is going to be a track meet. This is going to be points on points on points. I'm taking 42-38 Lions. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to come out of this, but the way that the defense looked, I need to see it from them before me to have some confidence in them again. So I'm taking 42-38 Lions.
Yeah, dude, I am absolutely terrified of the Lions running game versus the Bills defense. I think they're going to run for all the yards. I don't think there's going to be any yards left for anybody all season. I think Detroit is going to run for all of them. I truly think that. I don't think we have anybody that's going to be able to stop the run. And Amon-Ra St. Brown terrifies me. Yeah, I also have the Bills losing. 35-31 Lions is my prediction. I want to go on record that as of this has been my Super Bowl prediction for the last 5 weeks or so. Is this matchup, the Lions and the Bills?
Nice.
So I think we have a potential Super Bowl preview this weekend. So it's going to be a good one.
It's kind of nice that it's hard to beat a team twice. So if we lose here, maybe we'll be able to beat them in the future.
I like where your head's at, Jake.
I got a weird one dialed up. I'm going 39-38, and I'm taking the Bills with a walk-off field goal.
39? Huh,
39.
What's the math work on that one?
I'll tell you, Tom. It's 5 touchdowns, 4 of them with the field goal, 1 of them with the 2-point conversion, and then a field goal.
Oh, cool. Does Josh Allen score all of those points? Does he do every single one of those?
Involved in every one, yes.
Yeah. Okay,
obviously.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
All right. Is it time?
Yeah. Good night, boys. Have a good one.
Oh my God.
Nice. Let's.
Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Let's get into it. I think we should structure this. We go through the last couple of games, but we kind of blast through them because I think there's some bigger picture things that are more
agreed.
To talk about.
All right, so I'll start with the Avs. You want to alternate games?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sick. All right. So yeah, we have now dropped 7 straight. The Sabres have dropped 7 games straight, 4 since the last podcast. Excuse me. Played the Colorado Avalanche in what ended up being, what for my money, it was the worst loss in the last, or at least the top 5 loss in the last 13 years. We started out going up 4-0, all goals in the first period. The Avs scored 1 in the second, and then they scored the rest. They scored another 4 unanswered in the third period to win the game 5-4. It was humiliating. Shit got real loud for Kevyn Adams and Terry Pegula after this game. Jake?
As it should. It was the first time since the 80s that the Buffalo Sabres blew a 4-goal lead. It's inexcusable. I mean, you go up 4 goals, you leave a lot of time on the table for McKinnon, Makar, and crew to bury you, and that's just what happened. They just collapsed on themselves.
Yep.
To follow that up, say they held on to that lead and beat the Avs, then they move on to the Jets and they lost 3-2 in overtime. If they hung on and beat the Avalanche, we'd be sitting there saying like, okay, Jets are one of, if not the best team in the league as of this recording. I'm okay with an overtime loss, but that is not what happened. It was at that point, their 5th loss in a row. Winnipeg's an incredibly good team with an incredible goalie. Getting a point of them is a positive, but it is the silverest of silver linings. On to Utah, Nige.
Yes, Utah was also exceptionally humiliating. We just got absolutely fucking outworked, out-hustled by an expansion franchise. This is their first full season in the league, and they looked like just a significantly better team. They looked faster. The puck control was way better. I felt like our passing in that game was absolutely horrendous. It was terrible. I think they had 4 goals in the second period or 3 goals in the second period. Them being Utah, it was terrible. We lost 5-2, and then the doozy of yesterday, Jake.
Yep. Sabres were up 5-3 going into the third period against the Red Wings, a divisional matchup. Ended up losing 6-5 in a shootout. Similar to the Avalanche game, same vibes. Entering the third period, I was nervous, and then as soon as they made it 5-4, I said to myself, they're losing this game. There's no way they hang on. They ended up not being able to score a single other goal in that game. A couple of notes from that one. A couple of lineup changes. Greenway was back, and he was a bright spot, which was nice. Ryan Johnson drew in, played okay. Reimer was a complete ass throughout most of the game, and especially in the shootout. I don't know how much more you expect from him. Contextually, if this game happened amidst other winning games, you could say, it's a Reimer game. UPL's going to win that one. Sucks, but we at least got a point. That is not what happened. This was the 7th game in a row. Just some other comically bad stats that I wanted to say. This is the first time in NHL history that a goalie came into the game in relief and then won his debut in a shootout. It's a weird stat. There's a lot of words in there, but still, it's funny that it happened, especially because it happened to the Sabres. It seems like every other week they're giving up the first NHL goal to a guy or the first NHL win to a guy. It's just shut these rookies down. Anyways, Zucker, I think, was another huge bright spot from that game. He's been incredible. He's been, I'd say, one of the better free agent signings around the league. Not just for Buffalo. He's been incredible. So good place to get the puck into good areas, but we can't really talk about him because we have so much other bullshit to unpack. Team defense, atrocious. It's been horrible for the past number of games. Colorado, last night against Detroit, against Vancouver right after Thanksgiving. I'm trying to think back. It's been so long that they've been on this losing streak. They let Detroit walk all over us. Puck movement by Detroit in the offensive zone. They looked like they were the late 80s Oilers or late 80s Islanders, like passing it around, zipping it around, and just couldn't keep up with the Detroit players. Buffalo in the third period, defending a 2-goal lead. How many shots do we think they mustered? 4. You only need 1 for that one. It's just an embarrassment of what happened, and just a complete collapse amidst the other 6 collapses before that. Nige, any other thoughts on that game, or should we get on to some of the bigger picture conversations?
I'll just say real quick, man, it's the way that we're losing, right? Particularly when we're giving up significant leads, and not even just significant leads, but significant leads late in games. Like it's not even just the fact that we're losing. Hockey is a big eye test game, dude. It's a fluid game. Right, it's a fluid game that rarely stops, and I think the eye test counts in hockey more than any other sport, right? But the eye test is shitty, the record is shitty, all the advanced metrics are shitty. It's just a fucking shitty hockey team once again, dude. And it's the fucking way that we're losing. Like if we looked like we had any amount of sack and any amount of will and heart and desire to be great. And these games were close and competitive and guys were battling for one another, I would feel so much better, right? Yeah, I'd be able to say like you're gonna break through. Like even if the record was the exact same and the eye test was different, you'd say you're fine. This is a team that's gonna make the playoffs because eventually this product is gonna break through.
Yeah,
but holy, go ahead. You're gonna say
they're given nothing. There's no underlying stat that you can really point to where it's like, man, they're controlling play 5-on-5 and pummeling the opponent with chances. They're just not putting them through. But eventually those are going to click. They're not. They're playing terribly at 5-on-5. Their power play is fucking putrid. Their penalty kill, I guess you could say, is a bright spot, but even so, it's middling in the league at best. Goaltending is average at best. UPL has stood on his head a couple of times, but you can't rely on that for the 50, 60 games that he's going to play. It's not going to happen every night. So I agree with you. There's no silver lining behind these losses. They look unmotivated, they look uninterested, and they look just outclassed by teams that they should not be matching up that way against.
Yeah, there's nothing to hang your hat on. Yeah, dude, let's get into some of these bigger picture things. Okay, Jake, I'll ask you a question. Of the Sabres playoff drought, what is the one common denominator?
It is ownership.
Yes. And
Hands
I think
down.
And I am not typically a person that, and this situation in particular is even more difficult because what's the fucking football team like? The football team that the guy owns is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right?
Talking about, being one of the top 3-4 teams in the league, all-star quarterback. I mean, incredible.
Incredible culture. Right. So I think you have to, I think the only assumption you can make is that Terry Pegula just stumbled ass backwards into Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, and by extension, Josh Allen.
Yes.
Right.
Those all help. But I also think that he is pouring more resources, time, and effort into the Bills. And I get why he's doing that. I mean, it's ludicrously more profitable to be in the NFL than the NHL. And so he's clearly milking that cash cow, and I think negligent as far as the Sabres goes. He talks about how he watches every game and how they're his favorite team from when he was younger. I don't know how he can sit there and watch this team play and not just feel shame and embarrassment over what he's put. He is the owner. What he is putting out onto the ice every night.
Yeah. It is, and like, okay, dude. So are we at that point? Like, are you at that point? I feel like, I don't know. Like you and I are the same age. We've experienced the same things with the Sabres, right? Like neither of us has, any other era to hang our hats on. Like, where are you at with this? Are you team Terry sell the team, or are you team like it's probably going to work itself out?
I have long been an apologist for the Sabres and the things that they do, but no, I'm at the point of sell the fucking team. If you're not gonna create a serious organization to put into the National Hockey League, then sell the fucking team and get out. I was willing to believe in Kevyn Adams and the vision that he was painting, but words are fucking cheap and action is much harder to achieve. Kevyn said all the right things. He's been saying all the right things. He kind of repeated them from 2 years ago on the press conference on Friday. But at least what he's saying is what he should be saying. But there hasn't been any follow through. There hasn't been the accountability that he's talked about. There hasn't been the doing it the right way and drafting and bringing up our young players. He went out and signed a full bottom six, which has worked out, but it's the opposite of the mantra that he's been preaching for such a long time. It's just things like that where it feels to me like the criticism of Kevyn Adams when he was brought in has been the reality the whole time, where maybe I was trying to see it through rose-colored glasses. I think Kevyn Adams was the bargain bin option for GM. Internal promotion where Terry didn't have to open his wallet to pay a legitimate NHL GM. I think the staffing around Kevyn Adams is neutered because of Terry Pegula not wanting to put money into the organization. They talk about how they wanted to put in a new fucking scoreboard and a new roof, and that's going to be proof to the fans that we want to win. That is not the same thing. Nobody wants to see that. Things like that. I mean, it goes on and on. You're telling me that there's not an internal cap for the Sabres on the players that they can spend on? Bullshit. Otherwise, there would be a player in a Sabres uniform right now that we would be spending to the cap to get out of this fucking rut. So, yeah, no. All that to say, yeah, I don't think that he is putting in the care, money, time, effort that other successful organizations do. And until he is gone or has some epiphany, we will be a clown show embarrassment to the NHL. And that is a hard pill to swallow, but that is how I'm feeling.
I agree 150% with everything that you just said. And here is where I get really pissed at Terry Pegula. And I get pissed at Terry Pegula with the inability to even give him credit for Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, because he sat there at that press conference when he first bought the Sabres, looked at everybody, told them that their sole reason for existing was to win a Stanley Cup, started to cry when Gilbert Perreault was in the audience and told the guy that he was his hero. And I'll tell you what, dude, when Terry Pegula sat there and looked Gilbert Perreault in the fucking face and had tears coming down his face, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I was like, this is the guy that's going to fucking change it for everybody. And dude, I feel duped. I feel pissed. I feel mad. And now I'm looking back to like when it was COVID times and I get shit was tight, but he, like you used the perfect word, neutered the entire scouting department, left Kevyn Adams to be the GM for the first time when his only other job was like a fucking OHL GM or some stupid middling shit like that.
Not even that. You're giving him too much credit. He was like a assistant of player personnel or something like that. And player development or something like that.
Overnight, he's the fucking general manager for an NHL hockey team. Like, dude, miss me with it.
And in Kevyn Adams' defense, I don't think that this is his fault. This is the role that he's been thrust into, and the how you address it's part of the job description, right? You have to be the spokesperson for Terry. You have limited funds to deal with, and you have players that just do not want to come to Buffalo, and I don't blame them. So I don't think it's necessarily Kevyn Adams' fault.
I don't think so either. What's he supposed to do? Reject the job offer? Like, he's not going to do that. I'll tell you guys right now, if Terry Pegula calls me on my phone tonight and offers me the job, I'm going to take it. Right? I'm not going to be like, Terry, actually, man, like, I don't think I have the experience to give this fan base what it needs. So I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to decline. No, I'm going to take that 6-figure salary and I'm going to fucking try my best.
So yes, I totally agree. So I don't blame Kevin Adams for taking it or for being the person that was appointed, but I also think there are some sins there that he's committed while occupying the role that we're talking about. I think
Yes.
he's been complacent in some areas, and he talks his the quote that everyone has seen now: "We have taxes, but not palm trees in Buffalo, so people don't want to come here." It's a ludicrous quote that got cherry picked, but there's some you're hiding behind things. That's not the reason players don't want to come here. Winnipeg is cold as shit and has higher taxes than New York State. Players want to go there right now because they are a winning team, and that is the bottom line. If you're not a winning team, you're not getting free agents to come to your team. And so he hasn't. I feel like he hasn't. I feel like there has been trades out there that he could have made, but got cold feet. Didn't want to jeopardize the future. But the irony is that his future is fucked. He's going to get canned. The Sabres' future is fucked. They're going to rebuild again. We might beat the Bills' 17-year playoff drought at this point. That's how
we are 100% beating the Bills' streak. Yeah. No, dude, that's going to happen because you're right, Jake. It is going to be another rebuild because what's going to happen before Terry Pegula sells the team or somebody else is the owner? We're going to do this again where we fire Kevin Adams, hire a new GM. They've got like 3 years, right? And then it just rinse and repeat. Lisa asked an unbelievably good question because this was the case with the Bills for a long time. What changed? They got a great head coach that changed the culture. They got an unbelievable GM that was able to bring in players to lean into that culture, and it turned into a winning organization. And I'll tell you what, when a team is winning, nobody cares about taxes. Nobody cares about the weather. These guys are professional athletes that have been the best at what they do for their entire lives, and all they care about is a championship or making a ton of money, right? But for a lot of these guys, they will take that opportunity for a championship. And right now in Buffalo, New York, if you're a football player, it's a great place to potentially win a championship. Couldn't be the more opposite for hockey.
They're 1 point away from being the basement of the Eastern Conference. Yeah, agreed. Nobody wants to come here.
Yeah. This was time well spent. We are approaching our 60-minute here. Should we rip through some other big notes, Jake?
Yeah, I'd love to hit on one. The Sabres do lead the NHL in a category, and I think that's significant, and we should talk about it. That category is blown leads. Of their 28 games in this young season, they have blown a lead 11 times. 40% of their games, they have taken the lead and been unable to sustain it. That leads the league by a large margin. And for some context, if you remember all the way back when we were tanking for McDavid or Eichel in 2015, that team was that team, when they scored first, they were winning 50% of those games. Not good at all. This team, when they score first, 43% of the games they win. So I don't know where to go from there. Yeah. Any comment, or should I just move on to the next one?
Just move on, for the love of God.
I have been absolutely banging this drum for what feels like decades. The power play. You can not be a successful team in the NHL if you will not operate effectively on the power play. There was a stretch there. I remember talking about it in this podcast. There was a stretch where it was looking up from. So this is a tweet from Lance Lukowski, Sabres beat reporter. Early in the year, October 4th to the 22nd, they were 0 for 22 on the power play, and we were talking about how putrid it was. Lindy Ruff was saying, we're going to get one eventually. And you know what? They did. From October 26th to November 20th, about a month stretch, the power play was looking nice. They were 11 for 37, which is a 30% efficiency rating. They scored in 7 straight games. We were saying, okay, the power play's here. They're starting to win some games. We're good. Since that time, from November 22nd until today, they are 1 for 25 on the power play, a 4% efficiency, and they're still 30th in the NHL. For context, last year, one team that had a bottom 10 power play made the playoffs, and it was the Jets, and they got dummied by the Avalanche. You cannot win if you don't have a good power play. And to further that, the only thing that they did to change their power play from last year was bring up the AHL coach from Rochester to stick him behind the bench because Terry Pegula wants him to be the next head coach because he is cheap. Exactly. It's not good. You can't win like this. You're just sputtering away. The fact that they didn't bring in somebody else to manage the power play and to let Lindy bring in coaches that he maybe wanted to and has worked with before is just a mass failure on part of the organization. So I will continue hammering that fact, but you're just not a serious team if you can't muster more than one power play goal on 25 opportunities in the last 7-8 games.
That needs to be your tag under your name, Jake.
Done.
Problems with the PP, and then you'll be.
Oh gosh.
All right, real quick, Jake, I'm going to tear through a couple bullet points, and all I want you to do is give me the word agree or disagree. You ready?
I'm here.
Dylan Cousins needs to sit a few games.
Agree.
Also agree. Peterka's play the last several games is becoming increasingly concerning.
More than several games, but agree. For the past month or so, I've had some issues with what he's been doing.
Agreed. Okay. Krebs is a top 6 player on this team.
Disagree.
I disagree with your disagree. I agree with that statement. We should get into that at some point.
I'm down.
The tandem of Yoki Haru and Owen Power needs to be split up right now.
Agreed.
Also agreed. Let's see. I think, let's see. Tyson Kozak being sent back down to the AHL. Good or bad? Or sorry, is that good? That is good.
Oh, God, you got my head in pretzels.
Sorry.
You stuck that one, buddy.
Here I go. Let me retry. Tyson Kozak being sent back down to Rochester is bad.
Agree.
I also agree with that. Yeah, I've loved him. That's it. Tom, get us out of here.
Folks, you're welcome for your therapy session. We have Venmos and Cash Apps, so you can find them in our bio down below. Have a good night.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for spending some time with us. Please give us a like and a follow on Instagram, X, TikTok, and our YouTube channel at Let's Go Buff Pod. These are my pals, Jake and Nigel. My name is Tom, and you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. We're sending you love wherever you are. Go Bills, go Sabres, let's go Buffalo.